Growing up, Saturday mornings meant trips to the post office with my dad, big breakfasts of bacon, sometimes sausage, eggs, cinnamon rolls, and waking up absurdly early to watch infomercials and cooking shows on TV. Sure, I got down with Wile E. Coyote and the Looney Tunes from time to time, but mostly I wanted to set it and forget it and watch some folks cook. And my favorite person to watch cook was Justin Wilson.
You know how come the chicken crossed the road, huh? Ready to run away from them Cajuns. I'll tell you right now, because Cajuns will eat most anything, and they love to cook chicken. They love to eat chicken.
A slightly kooky Cajun chef who just had a certain way about him that was enthralling. He was the first person I remember watching cook on TV who was just as entertaining with his personality as he was with the food that he was preparing. Now, you have to understand this was before the Food Network, or at least before it became the monolithic entertainment industry that it is today. It's hard to say whether or not Mr. Wilson inspired my love of cooking and food, or if that passion was already smoldering and his videos only stoked the flames. But either way, today, I'd like to honor the contributions of Mr. Wilson to culinary history and the impacts that he made on my life. So, how y'all are? We're going to make us a chicken and sausage gumbo. Ooh. Alright, get a large pot over medium heat and cut up 4 or 5 strips of bacon into some tiny little lardons. Go ahead and render that fat out. Let's go ahead and start up by chopping up our holy trinity here as well. That's going to be 1 bell pepper, some celery, an onion, and I'm adding a little bit of jalapeno. Before we go any further, I just want to say I'm not really going to be giving you any exact amounts here during the voiceover, but I'll try as best I can to put some in the description down below. But I was definitely cooking by feel when I made this, like any good Cajun would. Go ahead and take some ribs of celery, get those minced up. I'm going to take the seeds out of this jalapeno, but if you really wanted to add extra heat, you could certainly leave those in. Get that minced up finely, and finally do the same with 1 white onion. Once your bacon is fully cooked, go ahead and get it out, let it drain. Don't do anything with that fat though. Leave it right there in the pot. We're going to use that along with some other fats to make our roux here shortly. Now our next meat, we've got some chicken thighs. I'm going to put these in skin side down so that skin can begin to get some nice brown color. Give them 7 or 8 minutes on the skin side and then flip them over and give them a couple more minutes on the bottom side. We're not cooking them all the way through here, so after you've got a little color on them, get them out. And the next meat that we're going to be dealing with is andouille, traditional meat for any gumbo. Go ahead and get that sliced up into nice little discs or cubed it up. And once we've gotten our chicken out of the pan, we will add our sausage. Brown that until the edges are nice and crispy and most of the fat has rendered out. And then, as we have been doing, just remove that and leave the fat in the pot. To that, we're going to add 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour. Whisk it together, and if your roux is very clumpy like that, you may need to add a little more fat. Olive oil would be just fine. You want to have a roux that is pretty liquid, kind of like that consistency there. Now we're going to cook this over medium heat for about 30 to 35 minutes until it's milk chocolatey and brown. Once you've reached that stage, go ahead and add your holy trinity and your jalapeno and cook those vegetables for 5 to 7 minutes until they've begun to soften. We'll also add in 5 to 6 cloves of garlic depending on the size. Stir that to combine. Now we've got to season this, and I can't think of anything better than some Cajun seasoning. Tony Chachere's is my preferred brand, but you use whatever you want. And we're going to add a whole heck of a lot of chicken stock to this as well. And if you don't feel like you've got enough stock in there once you've added your carton, you can always add in half a cup of water as needed. I did that as well. And now we're going to return our chicken to the stock. Go ahead and cook it about 25 to 30 minutes until it is fully cooked through and totally tender. We'll also add 1 can of diced tomatoes and time for some additional seasoning. Thyme. About a teaspoon of that, give or take, and 2 to 3 bay leaves, depending on their size. Now, after your chicken is totally cooked, go ahead and take it out. We're going to add a secret ingredient. Well, not so much secret as just important. Gumbo filet. It's ground sassafras, and it really helps give a nice flavor as well as texture to the stock. Also going to add about a cup to a cup and a half of frozen okra, but you could use fresh. And now it's time to return our meat. So we're going to take the skin off the chicken thighs and shred them. Add that to the pot. Add back in the sausage as well as the bacon. And the final meat that we'll be using, I just can't be bothered with this bag right now, is 1 pound of frozen shrimp. These will take almost no time to cook, so we're going to add them right at the end. I like to add about a quarter a cup of hot sauce, but that's optional. Not much left to do here, but plate this up over some steamed white rice and call it a day. While I wish I could have had the pleasure of eating something made by Mr. Wilson himself, allow this gumbo to serve in that stead. Let's see how it came out. A little bit of that sausage. It's so rich. The roux adds a wonderful depth of flavor to the broth and the chicken stock. The shrimp are tender and succulent and juicy. The sausage and bacon give a nice smoky and spicy flavor to everything. It's just a wonderful bowl of food. I hope you'll make it this week. Let me know how it comes out. Let me know what you do differently. And I'll see you next time on Dishing Out. Until then, go make something delicious.